Alright, hello. A quick video. I was watching Steve Fletcher 222 this morning, and he had this on his video, which was he spotted this news story, and he made the connection between this VW bus here that supposedly survived the fires that are raging right now, or that were raging, sorry, in California there, and somehow this VW bus survived, and he's made this connection. You know, of course, it looks like the bus in Back to the Future, the VW camper. Okay, so we're going to talk about a little scene that involves this bus now. I don't think Steve's aware of this. That's why I'm doing the video. I left a comment on his channel. Whether or not he'll see that, whether or not the comment's even visible or not, who knows. But I thought I'd do the video anyway. So this is for Steve Fletcher people, and for Steve Fletcher, and for all my guys as well, because this is interesting stuff. So this thing, how is this possible, this camper surviving? Well, it's probably just photoshopped in there, but how is it possible? Or it may be a miracle. It may be the return of this bus now, because in the actual film, if we go to the film where this thing shows up, in fact we're going to do this scene in just a second. Let's drop back. Here is the bus, and notice it's in Virgin Mary colours, the blue and the white. Okay, now this is important because this thing is here to stop Doc and Marty time traveling. Okay, it's, if you like, a warning, a bit of a harsh warning, because it's shooting both of them, trying to. So it's a bit of a harsh warning, but it's trying to stop them from delving or dabbling in the dark arts of the Matrix, in the technology that they shouldn't be dabbling in. So it's trying to stop them from, if you like, it's trying to stop them from time traveling. You know, it's maybe not obvious that that's what's happening, but maybe they're just getting revenge because they got ripped off by Doc. But this is what's happening. This bus is trying to warn, or trying to stop Marty and Doc from messing with something they shouldn't be messing with. Anyway, this is important because this has now survived the fires and is returned. Yeah, it's been resurrected from the phoenix from the flames. This thing's been resurrected. Again, another warning about not dabbling in those dark arts. Right, so what's happening here? Let's what I want to do is move on just a second, because there's this part of this scene ties us back with Donald Trump really nicely. Okay, so let me play it. Pay very close attention to what the terrorist guy says as his gun malfunctions, okay? Hopefully you heard that, okay? The gun misfires, doesn't fire, okay? And then he says, "You Alec," okay? I'll play it one more time so you can actually listen for yourself again. We're listening for him saying, "You Alec," as the gun misfires. Okay? Now, notice the color of the guy. He's rust colored here. Okay? All brown. And the gun misfires. Okay? So that takes us back to the rust shooting with Alec Baldwin. Okay? Alec, you Alec, with the gun misfiring, takes us back to the shooting that happened on the filming of the film, the shooting of the film Rust. Okay? So, this is a direct reference, I believe, or Rust, and that whole thing that happened is a direct reference back to the Future. Okay? So now what we need to do is we need to go to the film Rust and the actual shooting event and see the numbers that are involved in that thing. Okay? So the Rust shooting incident. October the 21st. Okay, already we know that October the 21st is Back to the Future 2 is the date that that is set, or part of the date that is set in. Okay, when they first go back and they have the hoverboard scene, that scene is the 21st of October. Okay, they have the newspaper from the next day on, which is the 22nd of October. So we know this 121 or 211 numerology with this date, okay, has to do with Back to the Future. It has to do with an upcoming date, the 11th of February, or it could even be the 1st of February. And I can explain that right now, because October being number 10, okay, we could reduce that back to a single 1 for January, or if we know how numbers work, we know that the number 10 is actually a 0. We've gone through, we've counted up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're starting over again. 10 is a start over point. Okay, the end of 9 into 10 is a start over point. So we could infer that 10 is 0, yeah? And then we go to 11, which would be 1, and then we go to 12, which would be 2, and so forth and so on. But do you follow how that works? 10 is also 0. So you could just make this a 2-1 reference, okay? The 1st of February as well, okay? If we know how to count numbers and we know how that number sequence works and what those numbers mean, we can infer that. I know that's fudgery. I know that people will say, well, that's a stretch, but that's just how numbers work. Anyway, so we have that date for Back to the Future 2, right? More importantly, it's the date for the Hoover Dam scene, okay? So that's important. And obviously 2-1 is obviously on the dollar bill as well. That's part of those folds. Don't know how many times we've talked about it, but the AT that comes out in part of those folds on the dollar bill, again, 2-1, okay? 21 actually, to be precise, because it's a T and an A, which is 20 and 1, okay? Anyway, let's look at the time this event happened. 1:46 p.m. is when this shooting occurred in the film. 1:46. Yeah? Are we clicking Donald Trump's birthday numbers? 14th of June, 146. Okay? Let's go to the guy that survives first. This is the guy that survives the shooting. That is hit but survives. Okay? Just like Donald Trump was hit and survives. Let's look. Oh, Joe Souza, maybe? I don't know how you say that. His birthday, June the 14th. Donald Trump's birthday. Okay, different year. June the 14th, though. Donald Trump's birthday. The guy that's hit and survived. Yeah? Again, this was probably predictive programming for Donald Trump to be shot and survive. Okay? There is another date in here. Anyway, forget that for a second. Let's go back. Let's go to the gal that dies. Yeah? Helena Hutchins, or however you say that. 4/9 is the date here on her death day, on her birthday, sorry, yeah? 4/9, okay? 4/9. Why is that important? Because Donald Trump has a very nice number jump, 30,000 days and 30,033 days from his birthday, which is 82 years, 82 days from his birthday, takes us to numbers that the other way around to this, takes us through to the 4th of September. And that set of 9-4 numbers, 4/9 numbers, 9-4, is or happens to be Labor Day in 2028. Labor Day, or at least 4/9, the 4th of September, is encoded in the dollar bill. Okay, so this is important. And obviously the 30,033 days is very important with the idea of death and resurrection. Okay, so an event maybe involving Donald Trump that could actually be on that Labor Day in 2028, or maybe another day that references that date. Maybe an April the 9th date, okay, at some point. That ties in with the number 33 really well, and ties in with Donald Trump really well. Could be a potential date for Donald Trump to be maybe actually accidentally shot and killed by a bullet from the real gun. Who knows? Who knows? But it's definitely a there's definitely some predictive programming there for Donald Trump's ear wound within this whole story. And that's really what I wanted to say about that. The other interesting thing about this is the tie-in with the Hoover Dam scene in Back to the Future. And if we go back to Steve Fletcher's video, at the end of the video, he pulls up this number as a reference point at the end of the film. At the end of Back to the Future, this is when Marty finally wakes up. And we have the 128 numerology here, or maybe even just 28 numerology. Again, if we dismiss the 10 as 0, again, 28 numerology there, the 8th of February. This could be the day before. I think Super Bowl's the 9th, isn't it? So this will be the day before, which is very interesting. Again, yeah. And I think it was maybe... Was it last year or the year before? It was on the 11th of February. I can't remember. And then we also had the 13th of February. So, of course, the 13th of February is super duper important with the beginning of Lucas numbers and the start of the cycle again. So, again, all these numbers up now to you know, actually the 13th and including the 14th of February are all interesting numbers and all interesting dates that have tons of tie-ins to potentially something happening at the Hoover Dam or some other big event. But let me just show you something. He mentions, so Steve mentions, you know, this is the last number that we see, or it's probably, I don't know if it is the exact last number, but it's definitely one that's definitely a wake-up call number, because it's on the alarm clock. But if we back up just a little bit, where Marty comes through the gateway here, right? He's just said bye to Doc and he's come in his driveway, and we have the number 9303. Okay, and again, the Hoover Dam birthday is 9/30. Okay, so 3993 has been prevalent just recently, especially with Jimmy Carter, and I've been seeing a lot of 93 stuff, to be quite honest. So again, this number also shows up towards the end of Back to the Future. And don't forget that the black Marty, Eric Stoltz, is his birthday is 9/30 as well, and he plays the eclipsed version of Marty that doesn't end up being in the. So he's like the shadowed out version of Marty. Done deliberately, I'm sure. Okay? He was never going to play the whole role. He was only supposed to do what he was supposed to do, which was the start of that film, just to set the idea of Marty being eclipsed. Okay? And I left a comment on Steve's thing explaining all this. Blah, 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 blah. I think I put everything in here that I've said. So I don't know if that showed up on the actual on his video, whether or not Steve will be able to see that. But hopefully, you know, this video will make its way to Steve so he can see that in there, because it's all important stuff. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on another video soon. All right, cheers. Bye.